I thought the UK was leading the way into 1984, but turns out we are now. Well, you know, I've been looking for rays of hope in modern society, and it's hard to find. It's definitely hard to find. Look at this. I can put this on YouTube. This is good news. I'm reporting on something that actually happened, and I'm also going to mention a few things that maybe aren't on the up and up with big tech in particular. So, the latest news, apparently, and I gotta be careful how I say this here, otherwise I will be shadow banned into fucking oblivion. Apparently the UK, Boris in particular, I think is, well, I don't know, it came from the health minister. Now, disclaimer, I know jack and shit about UK politics. I do know that Boris was supposed to be their conservative. Could I be wrong about that? But at the same time, based on what he's done the past year and a half, 2 years, I'd say he's a piece of shit. Right up there with the corrupt leaders of the left, if that's the case. But that being said, you know, who am I to judge another country's leaders? I am not under his rule, so I cannot, you know, make an informed opinion on what life is like in the UK. Though I do have quite a few of you who are from the UK that watch my shit. So y'all gotta be fucking ecstatic that not only are they getting rid of... as of July, they were supposedly getting rid of all your mandates, at least on the countrywide level. I am sure it is much like here in the United States, where you have local governments overstepping still, and will continue to do so until someone stops them. But you know, as far as countrywide, you know, on the prime minister, parliament level, you're getting rid of your mandates, which is cool. We did that here in New York, you know, for the most part, except New York City. Fucking Bill de Blasio. Anyways, you've just did it a complete 180 on the jab, mandatory pest something papers please-ish. See, I had to confuse some algorithms and shit. You know, and the reason I know that I have to do that is because I tried searching for this article when I heard it on NTD News. And when I did a search on a certain, you know, thing that rhymes with fucking Google, you know, I couldn't find anything. All of the stories that were being put in front of me were all hit pieces on this, or things that are twisting the narrative. So, I polished off. You'd think after all this fucking time, I would know to turn my fucking ringer off before I start fucking doing this shit. I polished off DuckDuckGo and did the same search, and wouldn't you know, the top 3 articles told me what I wanted to know. I wonder why that is. Why is it I have to leave big tech to find the truth, the story? Tell me. I don't know. I mean, for those of you who keep justifying these narratives, why is that? Why would they try and conceal the fact, and good luck, that the UK has done a 180? So much so that I've even heard in the NTD News story that they're not going to be checking us for jabs on the planes if we go to be tourists to the UK. Does this mean international travel is back on the list for me? Well, no, because I'll be fucking broke thanks to Joe Biden and all of his fucking tyranny. Consequently, seeing his behavior over the course of the 9/11 anniversary, the 20-year anniversary, ironically falling just after his debauchery in Afghanistan, pretty much undoing all of the shit that we did over there, in my opinion, and ushering and arming certain groups that might want to do harm to us in the future, but what do I know? That being said, he didn't even have the common fucking courtesy to honor those who fell on 9/11. He didn't open his fucking mouth. He was met with ridicule and shame. When you see him walking, it was like watching a perp walk because people were shouting negative things at him. This has all been captured on videos. But you won't see that on CNN or CNBC or any of the fucking outlets. I don't even think Fox is talking about it. But he's getting booed. His popularity is tanked. But don't forget, Democrats that are hating on Biden right now, I know who you voted for. All right? You certainly didn't vote for the orange man because that would have went against your entire fucking structure of beliefs. So you are responsible for this, in my opinion. Sorry, I hate to reiterate it, but I would want some accountability. You should be humble about it. You should be like, whoa, I fucked up. I didn't see this coming. I don't know how, because I've been screaming about it since before the fucking election. But, you know, a little bit of self-accountability might prevent this bad shit from continuing or happening again, assuming that there's no problems during the election next time. You can read into that what you will. So, anyways, getting back to the story of the UK, I gotta say, when I saw this, it made me fucking happy. I just realized I read the article out loud. I have to edit that. Fucking Susan. Boris retreats. No jabs for the UK. A few months ago, there was talk in some of the more excited asshole corners of the motherfucking internet that certain jab passports... Oh, shit. Can I say passport? Is passport on the no fucking talk list? Were the precursor to all sorts of nefarious plans to register and monitor... Reading this is fucking brutal. Because I know why this wasn't at the top of the queue. The first step, you might say, towards in something, you know, well, you can read that. It's on the fucking screen. If you are somebody who read that and worried about it, then it's time to fucking relax. This is some breath of fresh air shit. Telling me that there's good news and I can relax and I can settle down, even though I can't probably get a fucking job in a little while. We'll see how that all plays out in court. But for the time being, I'll be biding my time, or biding my time. Is that how that works? Plans to introduce certain, you know, papers for access into nightclubs and large events in England will not go ahead, the health secretary has said. Sajid Javid told the BBC, "We shouldn't be doing things for the sake of it." Holy shit! There's some fucking insight. This is not like a Dr. Fauci situation. Apparently their fucking health minister has a fucking head on their shoulders. Didn't stop all the other heinous lockdown shit, but hey, I will take a win where we can get one. If only, you know, Lord and Savior worshipped by all the weak Dr. Fauci could also come out and do a reality check. You know, that'd be nice too. By the way, 1,200 total people perished from a certain coof, and it was reported by some as being from a single state, when it was the entirety of the United States. And considering, if you do the math on that, the percentage of 350 million people, I'd be willing to say it's right up there with car accidents, drug overdoses, and, you know, violent crime. But, you know, we'll go ahead and put 80 million people out of work just the same. Good job, Joe. Good job. He said the government had looked at evidence. Wow, they weren't doing that before, but now they are? Holy shit, they finally figured it out. That's great. Welcome to the real world where people want to live their lives and stop being fucked with and controlled and forced to buy shit that they don't really fucking need. Most of them. Some people, you know. This should be a freedom of choice thing, people. I keep telling you. If I choose not to do certain things and then that results in my death, then that was my choice. It is not Big Daddy Biden's choice for me, you know. I mean, at some point, do we stop letting Big Daddy Biden tell us what to do and start being responsible adult human beings and live our lives and take the risks that we choose appropriate for our life? But that's not how the left has been working lately, has it? And according to Joe, the jab is 100%, you know, it's awesome. The numbers are great. If you got it, you're good to go. But we got to stop those unfucked up motherfuckers from that have been fucking clogging the beds. If you chose not to get it and you succumb to this, you still exercise personal choice. The same way a smoker does. The same way somebody that drinks themselves to oblivion all the time. The same person, you know, that does anything dangerous. Skydiving, driving a truck. You know, all of these things that are hazardous to our health. Well, we'd be clogging some hospital beds as well. But you don't seem to be taking all that away. You know, McDonald's, still there, still going strong. All of the processed foods you can eat, still cheaper, though a bit smaller than it was. You know, that whole shrinkflation bullshit. Oh, man. You know, when are we going to wake up? I want to see more people waking up. Some people are waking up, but not enough people are waking up yet. Not enough in the United States, anyway. You know, when I saw people protesting in France, 150,000 motherfuckers, I was like, wow, they're doing it right. We're not doing it right here, I don't think. We're not standing up for ourselves in the face of tyranny. It was thought the plan, which came under criticism from venues and some MPs, would be introduced at the end of the month. Number 10 stressed it would be kept in reserve. So, we ain't putting the card away. We're going to wait for the right political time to play it. Like after certain times of the year where we choose our leaders, that'll be when we fucking decide to do this to you. But for now, you're safe. You just make sure you remember that when you go to the ballot box. Like I can't see through that shit a mile away. Under the scheme, people would have been required to show their papers whenever whether of 2 jabs or a negative test, which you got to pay for, can get expensive. Hope you got good coverage, and even then you're still paying for it. It's going to raise all the rates and everything. But, you know, that whole pesky math, 2 + 2 = 5 horse shit, I guess. Finish self-isolating after a positive test. And we all know that this fucking test is very accurate. Never been questioned this whole time. You know, not to mention there have been people who, of course, have the jab and still do that. You know, so there's that. About 65% of Britons are, you know, well, you guys are ahead of us. Only 75% of us are good, according to Biden. 25% of us need to be fucking whipped into shape, run over, and sent in to get ours, or starve to death. And not just us, but all the family members that may rely on us to pay the bills should just fucking starve if you don't do it. Do it or you are gonna starve. Because I've had it up to here, Joe says. You know, he's been patient long enough. Now it's time to start doing as you're told. And if you don't, there's severe, life-destructive fucking consequences. So, there's that. You know, you can see where this is headed for us. You know, I mean, it's a good ray of sunshine, but it is not devoid of the stupidity that has plagued us the last couple years. I will be happy when people stop this craziness. The coof isn't going anywhere. It's here to stay. No matter how many things you put on your face, no matter how many times you stick that shit in your arms, and all the while enriching certain fucking corporations who you're playing right into their hands, who also pay for the science that you so deftly want to point out. You know. But, that being said, you do you, alright? If you feel safe putting that shit in your arms, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not here telling you you can't. I'm not here threatening to take your job away if you do. I'm not here trying to fucking segregate you from society if you choose to do that. Afford me the same fucking courtesy, if you will. You know? And fuck Joe Biden. I am so done with this guy. He is like the mouthpiece of corruption. He is the worst president, in my opinion, in human history. And somebody put his name out there. Check that box. What does that say about us as a society? How do we bounce back from that? How do we stop the descent into 1984? How do we not end up like Australia? Just saying. Who have taken this to the next fucking level. Somebody told me in the comments that in Australia it's 100% 1984. Whereas we're only 75% here. Well, UK just lowered theirs a notch. They pumped the brakes. Whether it's the coming economic collapse that's probably going to happen. And yeah, there's a lot of buzz. I've been watching a lot of financial news, obviously, because I do invest to survive. It's just become more important to my survival than ever now, because I no longer have the trucking parachute until they sort out this papers, please society. There's a lot of rumblings about a market crash coming. There's a lot of rumblings about a crypto market crash, which tends to coincide at first with the markets, because keep in mind, all those stock motherfuckers have been pouring money into crypto as well. So when they start to panic, they're going to move it out of crypto and try and put it somewhere else. And, you know, and at the same time, you know, it's going to be a period of time where I'm not taking profits on crypto and where I'm waiting for it to bounce back after this predicted crash. If anything, trying to buy some during the crash would be my move, personally. But I'm not here to give you fucking financial advice. So, the bottom line of this video is I was given hope by this article. And not much, though. Not much. Because it's in the UK. And at the end of the day, even if the UK just said, fuck it, we're back to normal, what's the coof? Never heard of it. Oh, you mean that thing where you might have got some sniffles? You know. And that's not to downplay anybody that succumbed to it, but I'm sorry. There's many ways that we can perish in this world. And living in fear is probably the #1 way that we can perish in this world. So, and I'm not ready to set aside freedoms that were paid for over the years and the cost of blood and, you know, ruined lives who fought for our freedom. I'm not ready to set that aside because you're afraid. You know, because if you need to look no further than China to see exactly the power that fear has over people and how much freedom that they'll give up in the name of that fear. But what the fuck do I know? Because I'm not an expert. I'm just an asshole. Don't bother fact-checking my shit, because I'm here to give you my opinion. And opinions are not fact. Tell that to the left on CNN. But that is the truth. This is my opinion. I'm allowed to have one. Somewhere. Maybe not necessarily completely here on YouTube. But there's places where I can have a fucking opinion and not get shot for it. It's great. So, yeah, hopefully we don't get to that level. Alright, so tonight, after you watch this video, later on, I don't have a specific time yet, but I'm announcing it now. I'll also have written it in the email list that you can sign up for on ScottTheTruckDriver.com. I will do a music live stream. We'll hang out, we'll chat, I'll play some music, try and do some live looping, but I still suck at it, so it's probably about 60-40 that I won't make a song, and then it'll just sound like shit. But we'll see. Then you get to see how I come up with my music, at least. You know, whether or not I come up with something during the stream, that's a whole other thing. But it'll be a good chance to hang out, take breaks in some of the music making, to read the chat and interact with y'all, and just see how it goes, and to test my pretty much bare bones live streaming setup. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you. And that'll be tonight. I don't have a designated time yet. I will let you know via YouTube when I know. But you got the heads up from this video that tonight is the night of some live streaming and shit. Have a nice motherfucking day. And Joe Biden, you can suck my big hair.